Up next, we have a presentation from Tempest Minerals with the ticker code TEM, a WA-focused mineral exploration company. To tell us more, today I'm joined by Managing Director, Don Smith. Good morning, Don.
Morning, everyone. For those of you who aren't familiar with Tempest Minerals, we're a company based in Western Australia. We're originally listed in 2017 as a pure lithium explorer. However, in 2020, we merged with a private copper, gold and other commodity company and became Tempest as it is today. I'm sure everyone's seen a disclaimer before, so I'll skip through that. On our team, we've got a fantastic board, including the high-profile Brian Moller, who many of you may know from SolGold fame, and as well as the rest of us, and we're all mining professionals and we all do this for a living. You can see that our share price has had a modest spike in the last month or so, and that's on the back of some interesting exploration that we've been doing that I'll tell you about in a moment. We've got a still modest market cap of 42 million, and we've recently completed a cap raise, so we're fully funded to go forward with our exploration in the near future. Quick overview of our projects here in Western Australia. On the left, we've got the Yalgoo projects. In the centre, we've got the Mount Magnet, and the right, we've got our lithium and other commodities. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Yalgoo region, which is our focus at the moment, it's about 5 hours north of Perth. So you leave the city, get on the freeway, drive straight up into our projects. And that's a really strong competitive advantage that we have, in that we have all the infrastructure there. We've got rail, road, power, telecoms, water, and half a dozen world-class mines, as you can see on that screen, which are the large spheres. So the excitement that I mentioned earlier is regarding the Malaya project. Basically, the entire area has never had a lease on it, let alone been explored. If you go from Yalgoo in the north down to Mount Gibson in the south, it's about 100 kilometres, and every 10 kilometres you've got a mine of some description, and every 20 kilometres you've got a world-class mine. So we're pretty excited to have 50 kilometres of the same rocks that no one's ever looked at before. And as it says on the screen there, we firmly believe this is one of the most exciting exploration plays on the market today. So a bit of background behind how we've got to this point. In 2020, this was still a concept where all the historical maps showing this as a barren granite. We did a bunch of work which showed that that was not, including going out and actually looking at the rocks, and you can see in the centre. And through our sampling and other geological techniques, we've come up with dozens and dozens of targets, which all are highly prospective. And we drilled one of those last month, which was the Orion target. You can see there on the screen. And here's what we came up with. So we drilled those 2 holes co-funded by the Western Australian government to purely just to understand this new mineralized terrain which we've come across. And the very first hole hit significant mineralization on the first day of drilling, which was a pretty good start. And you can see there that we've got multiple zones of mineralization throughout the first hole. And then we drilled a second hole underneath that, and that a second stratigraphic hole, and got similar results in that. And that's certainly a very, very good start to our exploration, and we're quite excited about it. Some visuals of what we're getting out of the drill core. On the right-hand side, in the top right, you can see we've got semi-massive magnetite and chalcopyrite at the top of the hole there, and then down lower we've got semi-massive pyrrhotite, pyrite and chalcopyrite. So we're very excited to see what comes out of that from the laboratory, but irrespective, we're onto something pretty serious here in the Yalgoo region. On the left-hand side there, you can see the second hole we drilled also intercepted very, very widespread disseminated copper mineralization, including some bornite, which is the blue color there. And that represents very high-grade copper. And that's reflected also in the bottom left image there, where we've got some quite pretty and but also interesting geologically alteration. And we'll have some more news about that coming out in the near future. So moving on from Malaya briefly, just before and just after Christmas, we were doing drilling at the Euro project. So the Euro project is a little bit more explored than the Malaya project. Indeed, there's been hundreds of holes put into the northern part of this project here. And there's a short selection of some of those holes. We've got 17 meters at 1 gram, 15 meters at 2. They're very substantial numbers. But this project seems to have been forgotten about because it was mostly drilled in the 90s and 2000s when gold was worth $200 an ounce as opposed to 2,000 right now. And certainly in today's economic climate, these numbers are much more appealing to us. And we've done a bunch of drilling in that general vicinity to check on the previous drilling and also to test a few other targets that we've got there. And we're waiting on the assays for those as we speak. And there's a bit more detail on the next slide, slide 11. You can see that we've got 5 target zones, 3 of which we drilled in our recent campaign. And we've got substantial mineralization in all the core, including semi-massive sulfides that you can see there in the picture. On the next slide, zooming out a little bit, while the north of the project certainly has a lot of excitement around the drilling that we've done there, the rest of the project has quite amazing potential as well, and it's never been explored either. At the bottom center of the screen there, you can see the perhaps unfortunately named Kiev target, but in the background, we've got our own proprietary magnetic data set, which was reprocessed from a bunch of surveys in the region. And you can see that Rothsay, which is several million ounces of gold, has a similar style of signature to Kiev. And we've recently completed a bunch of surface sampling and mapping there, and we can confirm that we've got some very exciting looking rocks there as well, which we're looking forward to announcing some results on shortly as well. Touching briefly on the project which started our journey in the Yalgoo region, you can see here that we have an enormous at least 15 by 3 kilometer wide alteration system. And this was interesting to us because there's been some, we'll say, prospecting activity, pretty substantial prospecting activity done here, where some of these gentlemen have been mining very, very high grade gold. So it's definitely not the barren granite that the geology maps show it as. And we've done a bunch of work here, including drilling, which we can see on the next slide, where you've got the drawing in the base of the image there, drilling into high grade quartz veins. And in the top of the picture there, you can see we've got an unutilized processing facility. So if we can even get a hint of a resource at any of our projects, we can be in production very quickly, in theory, by utilizing the existing facilities in the region. I won't talk at length about this project, but it is another land holding we have in Yalgoo, where we have extensive gold mineralization throughout, and we are literally within visuals of 2 world-class mines. You can see the head frames from our ground. So we're pretty excited to get up there and do some more exploration on the Messenger project later in the year. I mentioned earlier, we've got some holdings in Mount Magnet. The dark blue color in the center of the right-hand map is our holding there. And you can see that we're surrounded by quite large, successful ASX companies, including Ramelius Resources and Genesis. And we're excited about this project because we have old mine workings in the top half of our project, which aren't on any of the records. And we know that these shafts have gram gold material coming out of the waste dumps. So we're very excited to get in and drill some of those targets within the next year as well. I mentioned earlier that we were originally a lithium company. This is one of our lithium projects, the Rocky Hill project, and we were recently out here only a month or so ago doing field work, and we're also have pending results from the laboratory for our surface sampling we did there as well. So we're looking forward to getting a good news flow out to the market on all our projects. And that's reflected in the next chart on slide 18 here, where we have our field work we're doing. We've got multiple drilling programs coming up. We've got at least downhole and airborne geophysics to be done at Malaya, if not at the other projects, and multiple drilling programs, as I mentioned. And just like I am speaking here, I'll be doing regular investor updates and attending a bunch of the conferences around the circuit in the next couple of quarters as well. And there's all our contact information for anyone who wants to reach out and follow the Tempest story.
Dom, thanks for the great presentation. So questions just come through, and I know that you did mention this in your presentation, but in addition to the pending Euro results, what other news flow can shareholders look forward to?
At the very least, we've got results from Euro drilling coming up. We'll have more drilling programs coming up there and at our other projects. We've got the results from the Malaya project that we've recently made the discovery at. We've got further assays coming from our other projects, surface sampling and geochem and this kind of thing. And we've got another bunch of things in the works as well. So definitely no shortage of news flow coming up.
Well, thank you for joining us.